America's about to go to war. And when she goes to war, she wants black and brown bodies. Now you're useful. They don't give a doggone about how black lives matter until they want to use black lives to accomplish their wicked ends. They're trying to provoke Iran. I would like to say to the President, it would not be a wise move for you, because you're already $23 trillion in debt, and you don't have any money to prosecute a war. So if you don't have the money to prosecute a war, the Federal Reserve is printing money every day. So you will have to come to the Federal Reserve to borrow money that you don't have to prosecute a war in a time when any little thing could cause the dollar to fall and the stocks to fall.
Black people shouldn't go to the military. I'm just saying, and no harsh feelings. So anybody who has joined the military, salute to y'all. But bruh, as much as I've learned about black history and all the books I've read, they do not give a fuck about us in this country, bruh. If you ain't learned that by now, I don't know where you been at. You know what I'm saying? And they show us, just look at videos on social media and just read the comments. And look at the shit and the hateful things they say about us. Bruh, motherfuckers hate us, obsessed with us, wanna imitate us, wanna benefit off our culture. But these people don't give a damn about black people. They have shown us, like, bruh, even after slavery, right? Do y'all know that we had thriving communities right after that? We like, shit, we done with the slavery? We get to go do our thing? Shit, we built our neighborhoods up so nice and had motion and was circling around, you know, money just in our communities, that everybody who couldn't hold slaves no more went broke and burnt our shit down. And then put crack and AIDS and shit, all that in our community. Look at the system. Look at our neighborhoods. Like, all this continuously shows that they do not give a fuck about black people. And I'm about to go die for y'all? Are you crazy? I'm gonna go serve somewhere else on the land that ain't got nothing to do with me, just to come back and be called the ER, had the police harass me and shit like that. And bro, you got the game fucked up, bro. We ain't got no business joining nobody else's war, bro. On top of, they not gonna tell you what the wars are really about. It's really about some other shit, but they gonna trick you and dangle little benefits in your face to make you go sacrifice some shit. Cause this is what y'all gotta understand. People in power, they don't offer you something that's an even trade. They just know, look, I know y'all gonna say, man, I want a housing and you know, I needed some money and things like this, I needed education. That ain't shit for them to give that to you in exchange for your life or your peace of mind. Look at all the people that are veterans that jump on here and say, don't do it. Hey, I seen this happen. I knew this person who went there and was cool and came back all fucked up and wasn't right in the head, and the amount of people that take their own life because of the shit that they had to endure or go through over there, and then coming back and not being the same. This shit ain't worth it for what they offer, bro, especially black folks. We ain't got no business joining some shit that ain't got nothing to do with us, man. Let them go and deal with that bullshit.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, family. Kindly, for watching me for the first time, please remember to subscribe, like, and also comment. So guys, things are boiling so fast. Donald Trump is now panicking. This man is not really sleeping now because he's now desperate. Things are moving very fast. Do you remember he stopped recruiting the black soldier, but now he's desperately looking for the black soldier so that they can really come up and help him to fight Iran. So guys, I want you guys to continue watching these videos until the end, then I'll come back with more comment. I'm waiting. I want to hear your thoughts more in comment section about these measures that really Donald Trump is taking over bringing back the black soldiers.
I'm telling y'all, man, there's something deeper going on. It's hard to ignore at this point. Like, all of these companies, all of these schools, all of these, you know, programs that they just seem very, very excited to get rid of this DEI stuff. I really think about that because the executive orders are not laws, you know? Like, you don't go to prison for not following an executive order. But all of these companies, these schools are just like, yeah, we're done with that. And now the stuff going on in the military it's just, I'll tell you this, you can definitely tell that this administration does not know history at all. Because if they did, and if they valued history in any way, they would know that we have not won any conflict in this country without smart black people in the military. I mean, every conflict this country has been won off of the back of black military personnel. So if they don't want to recruit engineers, and they don't want to recruit the best and the brightest, because remember they said DEI was about the best and brightest. They kept saying it's merit-based. All right, this is merit-based. We want the best and brightest in our military. We want the best and brightest in all of positions in America, the best and brightest. But we're also going to have the military stop recruiting these highly intelligent people. All branches of the military, we're not going to recruit here anymore. I'll be honest, if that is how the Trump administration truly feels, let them do it. Because these people are also talking about going to war. Yeah, they want to go to war. They want to go to war in Panama. You want to start a conflict with Canada, all right? Fine. Go to war with all of your meathead, super white dudes. You guys are so convinced that, you can only have the best coming out of one particular ethnic group. Let them have it. Because I guarantee the first conflict, the first battle, the first skirmish that Donald Trump goes into with his all-white man military will be the last one that they go into. You know why the mustache man lost his war? History will say that all of these countries got together and, attacked Germany at the same time. And they did not know how to defend themselves. They were overwhelmed. Well, that was true. They also had some of the best technology, believe it or not. The Germans had some of the best technology in the world at the time. But the reason why they were not able to win their war was because of the way Mustache Man built his military. You see, when you have such a hyper focus on the skin tone of the people in your military, when you have such a hyper focus on them looking a certain way, you actually don't get the best and brightest. More often than not, you get the least qualified and the least prepared for those positions. And many American soldiers talked about how when they were storming beaches and cities over there in Germany, and they finally took them over, more often than not, it was children, teenagers with very little experience, all sorts of people who were vastly unqualified to be defending that country. But the Mustache Man wanted his army to look a certain way. So listen, if you want to take us all the way out of the fight, that is fine. We do not need to be sending any more of our brothers and sisters to put their lives on the line for a country that clearly does not want them. So I say, let Trump have this one, because you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
This is actually wonderful news, folks. This is what I'm gonna tell you how. So that guy's reporting. Please go back and watch the whole thing. That guy's reporting about the United States military under bitch ass Trump, saying they're not coming to a specific event where the best and brightest in a certain category of, I believe it's probably math, science, architect, things of that nature, right? Engineering. engineering, all military shit, right? They're not going there to recruit. And I love it. Why do I love it? For one, that's less black folks in the gears of our military, which is just a death military. We don't do too much good with our military, right? Not too much, okay? Number two, we, the black community, already said we're bowing out. We can't just bow out when it's negative shit. We bow out all the time under every circumstance. And Trump, I was going to say they, it wasn't they. Trump just allow us a gracious bow out by saying don't even show up. Good. We don't want our children in your military. Good. We need those minds in black-owned businesses and thriving. We need that. That's a very good way, folks, of stepping back and minding our business, black community. Those who may have thought they were going to the military, now they may have to adjust a little bit, and it won't be hard for them because they're highly intelligent, right? They have to adjust, and many of their minds will go to, well, if you don't want me, I don't want to work for you. And they go into black-owned businesses or starting their own or collabing with students that they met over the years that have the same mentality, but their skill is a little different, and then that skill is a little different, but when they come together, it's amazing. That's what they're doing. My bad. I keep on saying they. That's what Trump is doing for the black community right now.
So the military said they finna stop recruiting from the Black Engineer of the Year award event after Trump got rid of the DEI program. So they getting rid of diversity, period, and they starting at the top and going down. And that's all right. They just trying to build the most powerful white nation that they can. That's all that is. That's all this country was ever meant to be. So it don't matter if you're the descendant of a slave or the descendant of the merchants that came over here or either of the native people. It don't matter. If we get a sign to go somewhere where it's a whole lot more of us, like Africa got 980 million people that look like us, Haiti, Jamaica, Brazil, then we need to go. All that fighting over this and fighting with them, that shit we need to go. Fuck all that shit. We need to
Stop listening to Trump. If you want to know when the Iran war is going to end, there is only one person you need to listen to, not Trump. Stop listening to Trump. The only person you need to pay attention to is Larry Fink. He runs BlackRock, the biggest wealth management firm in the world. He controls most of the world's money. Listen to what he said about the Iran war last week. You're about to find out when the war will end.
If there's a cessation of war, and yet Iran remains a threat to trade, a threat to the Straits of Hormuz, then I would argue that we could have years of above $100, closer to $150 oil.
What happens to the global economy if that happens? How do we see it?
We'll have global recession.
You just heard the man that controls the most amount of money in the world say the Iran war cannot end with Iran controlling the Strait of Hormuz. The United States needs to take control of the Strait of Hormuz or there will be a global recession. You just heard him say that. You think Trump's getting on camera saying, yeah, I just got a deal. Get ready, guys. We're talking right now. The deal's on the way. Get ready. So when I keep saying on this page, this Iran war is being fought to tokenize everything and create a new global financial system, guess where I got it from?
We believe the next step going forward will be the tokenization of financial assets.
And when I tell you that Iran represents a leakage in this new global financial tokenized system, guess where I got it from?
$4.1 trillion of money sitting globally in digital wallets. A lot of that money is outside the United States. If we could tokenize...
You're listening to these bullshit headlines, then ruining relationships with your family and friends. Don't do that. Listen to me, then go ruin the relationships with your family and friends, duh.
Of qualified, highly skilled participants. So what's the reason? They're black. Are they qualified? Yes. Are they highly skilled? Yes. Are they sought after? Yes. Would they benefit the military? Yes. But because they're black, this is where the rubber hits the road, folks. Are they skilled? Yes. But are they black? Yes, disqualified. We're not even going to look at them. We're not going to seek them. We're not going to try to recruit them because they're black, in spite of the fact that they're qualified, in spite of the fact that they have a specialization, a skill set that is wildly needed by our government. But because they're black, they're not being hired. And we're going to finish with that quote I read earlier. It's fucking racist, one active duty Army general told military.com, on the condition of anonymity to avoid retaliation. For the Army now, it's blacks need not apply, and it breaks my heart. That's not coming from me. That's not coming from me, critics who said, oh, Donald Trump's not in for the segregation. You're just lying. You're a libtard. Hurt me there. A U.S. Army general, someone who, he hadn't been there, they hadn't been there, whatever they are, woman or man, hadn't been there for 15 minutes. They've likely been there for 30 years. They are also a subject matter expert. YouTube troll. You are not. You are an armchair moron who supports a fascist. You're just lying, libtard. Fantastic. I stand by my earlier video from February 6th, and I'm adding to the pile of evidence here.
I don't know whether to be happy or be upset. Honestly, in my opinion, I just feel like this really was not our war to fight to begin with. We were dragged into this shit, if you really want to be technical with it. I feel like we were dragged into shit that we ain't had no business being dragged into when it came down to the war.
By now,
U.S. allies tell Trump, heck no. What? Yes, U.S. allies are telling Donald Trump no. Donald Trump is begging them now to participate in the war. Donald Trump is begging them now to be able to use their bases or fly over their countries. France said no. Italy said no. Spain said no. The United Kingdom said no, but for defensive purposes only. Portugal said no, but for defensive purposes only. Canada said no. Australia said no. No after no after no. Maybe Donald Trump, you and Pete Hegseth should have thought to include them on the signal chat so they would know what was going on in advance and they could tell you what they thought before you and Pete Hegseth made the decision to go in along with Bibi Netanyahu to do this. So right now we find the United States alone with only Bibi Netanyahu, and Bibi Netanyahu refuses to even commit to send its troops into Iran. What? Yes. So that's what kind of allies you have. And Donald Trump, when you bully and alienate everybody, as you've done for not only the last year you've been as president, but the previous 4 years, what do you expect? When you don't get buy-in before you start the war, why do you expect them to go in now when this war is a mistake and you're looking for a way out? So what do you expect? Donald Trump, F-A-F-O. You F around, you find out. And you found out now. Love to hear from my Democrats, my MAGAs, my crazies, my cuckoos, my burned out light bulbs, my Brits, my Canadians, my French, my Spaniards, my Mexicans, Australians, anybody else. What do y'all think? This war is a mistake. We shouldn't be here. And now we in the world are going to pay the price for Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth and Bibi Netanyahu's mistake. What do you think?
Donald Trump posted on Truth Social that he's destroyed 100% of Iran's military capability, then admitted in the same breath it's easy for them to send a drone or two, drop a mine, or deliver a close-range missile through the Strait of Hormuz. Those were quotes. After claiming total victory, Trump named China, France, Japan, South Korea, and the UK as countries he hoped would send warships to help reopen the strait. Iran's IRGC Navy chief responded with surgical precision. He said Americans falsely claimed the destruction of Iran's navy, then they falsely claimed the escorting of oil tankers. Now they're even asking others for backup forces. The Iranian foreign minister went even further, calling Trump's request begging others and urging regional countries to expel American forces instead. 3 weeks into a war Trump launched to secure Middle East energy flows, the United States is publicly asking for help, including from China, while Iran controls the world's most critical oil choke point. None of the countries Trump named gave any immediate indication they would actually send warships. The UK's Ministry of Defence offered a non-answer. They said, as we've said previously, we are currently discussing with our allies and partners a range of options to ensure the security of shipping in the region. That's essentially diplomatic language for no. China's embassy in Washington wouldn't confirm naval deployment either, instead stating China calls for an immediate stop to hostilities and would play a constructive role for de-escalation. Translation in normal words, we're not joining your war. Norway went the opposite direction entirely. Norwegian authorities banned Norwegian flag ships from entering the Strait of Hormuz and refused to send warships when Trump asked for help. Europe's energy lifeline just told America to handle this one alone. For more context on why Trump's plea matters, U.S. Secretary Chris Wright told CNBC last week that the U.S. was not ready to escort ships through the strait itself. After burning through strategic petroleum reserve stockpiles and deploying 2,500 Marines on the USS Tripoli, the United States military admits that it cannot secure a 34-mile wide waterway through which 20 million barrels of oil per day normally flow. Iran doesn't need a functioning navy to maintain this blockade. Maritime analyst Andreas Krieg explained the strategic reality. He says, and I'm quoting here, "It doesn't seem like they had a plan for the Strait of Hormuz to be closed, and it seems like a desperate move in an information campaign to calm markets, and that something magical will happen to open the straits short of actually engaging with the Iranian regime. All Iran has to do is strike occasionally to keep insurance companies from covering transit. No ships insured means no commercial traffic, regardless of how many military escorts America can theoretically provide." Switzerland just broke 200 years of neutrality to condemn the U.S. invasion of Iran. We have a separate video analysis on that. Check it out next. Investors are fleeing American markets as a $3 trillion bubble burst, and the petrodollar system is dying at Hormuz as Iran only allows safe passage to yuan-denominated cargo. We have separate videos with all of those pieces of analysis. Check them out next. They're going to be in the description. Meanwhile, India demonstrated what actual strategic competence looks like. While Trump begged allies for warships, India negotiated safe passage for 20 crude tankers and LPG carriers directly with Iranian foreign minister. India originally sources about 45% of its oil from the Arabian Gulf, and this agreement gives it an energy security lifeline that no Western nation currently possesses. 2 Indian-flagged gas carriers and a Saudi oil tanker carrying 1 million barrels for India were allowed to pass through the strait under Iranian approval. Turkey secured passage for its ships the same way. These countries recognize a new reality. Iran decides who transits Hormuz, not the United States. Diplomacy with Tehran works. Military threats from Washington don't. If you want frameworks for connecting geopolitical shifts like this before they become mainstream narratives, my book, Awake, the Practice of Critical Thinking in an Age of Self-Lies, walks through the analytical tools for early pattern recognition. It's available in ebook and audiobook. Subscribers get 10% off, and you can get the first chapter for free in the description. Trump's contradiction exposes the fundamental problem with American strategy. He claimed the U.S. has beaten and completely decimated Iran, both militarily, economically, and in every other way, that was a quote, while simultaneously admitting Iran can still deploy drones, mines, and missiles effectively enough to keep the strait closed. This is not a communication failure, it is more strategic incoherence. After years in finance analyzing risk assessment, I can tell you this pattern is unmistakable. When somebody claims total victory while asking for emergency backup, they've lost control of the situation and are desperately trying to manage perceptions instead of outcomes. The economic consequences are already very visible. Commercial traffic through Hormuz remained near standstill, with only 10 vessel crossings recorded between March 7th to 11th, compared to typical daily averages of 70 to 80 crossings. Oil prices spiked despite massive strategic petroleum reserve releases. Asian markets, which receive 84% of crude oil and condensate shipments through the strait, are now scrambling for alternatives. Gulf Arab states like the UAE are diverting oil through pipelines to ports outside Hormuz, but those pipelines cannot match the 20 million barrels per day that normally flow through the strait, creating a deficit of about 12 million barrels daily. Europe is accelerating its renewable energy transition, specifically because this crisis proved fossil fuel dependency equals geopolitical vulnerability. Every day the Strait of Hormuz stays closed strengthens the case for energy independence from Middle Eastern supplies entirely. Trump's request for Chinese warships deserves special attention. 3 years ago, positioning China as America's primary strategic competitor was the organizing principle of U.S. foreign policy. Now the U.S. president is publicly asking Beijing to send naval assets to help secure American-backed shipping in waters Iran controls. If we look at what publicly available intelligence tells us, China has exactly zero incentive to help here. China receives a third of its oil via Hormuz and holds about 1 billion barrels in strategic reserves. That is several months of supply for them. And more importantly, Iran is allowing yuan-denominated cargo through. China can negotiate its own passage the same way India did, bypassing dollar-based systems entirely. We have a separate video analysis on how this might actually be the death of the petrodollar. Why would Beijing send warships to secure American
Well, folks, it seems like Donald Trump has changed his mind again about the war with Iran. Shocker, I know. Just the other day, he was talking a big talk, saying the United States would obliterate Iran. No questions asked. There would be nothing left behind. And now fast forward to today, Donald Trump is privately telling his aides that actually he wants a speedy end to the war. And I think I know why he's saying this. They talk about it in the article, but we also have some context clues as to, what's going on out there, what's taking place in the media. But I want to go through this story with you in just a moment. Before I do that, please make sure to subscribe down below, drop a like on the video, comment, let me know what you think about this. If there's anything I missed that you want me to talk about, if you're on Apple or Spotify, please make sure to rate the show 5 stars and follow along. It goes an incredibly long way. Without further ado, let's get into it. So first, let's just start with what Donald Trump said just the other day, March 21st. Trump gave Iran an ultimatum, said, quote, if Iran doesn't fully open without threat the Strait of Hormuz within 48 hours from this exact point in time, the United States of America will hit and obliterate their various power plants, starting with the biggest one first. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, this seems like a pretty serious threat. Donald Trump is talking business here. Except within 24 hours of this ultimatum, he changed it to 5 days, saying that productive talks have occurred between the United States and Iran, and then the Iranian government came out and said no talks have happened whatsoever, and now Donald Trump has seemingly fully backed off of this threat. He tacoed. He always chickens out. He did it again, despite issuing the threat very publicly for the entire world to see. So this is what he was saying the other day, and actually just yesterday, he was talking about Iran capitulating, making a deal with the United States, whether they like it or not. Watch.
Like we're doing in the Middle East with Iran. And they are negotiating, by the way, and they want to make a deal so badly, but they're afraid to say it because they figure they'll be killed by their own people. They're also afraid they'll be killed by us. There's never been a head of a country that wanted that job less than being the head of Iran. I don't want it. We listen to some of the things they say. We hear them very clearly. They say, I don't want it. We'd like to make you the next supreme leader. No, thank you. I don't want it.
So there you go. Trump is saying that Iran are the ones wanting to make the deal. It's not us. We're ready to keep going. But Iran wants to make the deal. Okay, but Donald Trump is also seeing the numbers. This was reported by CNN last night. The polling for Trump is not great. The polling for Republicans across the board, even worse. Just watch.
As questions mount over the war in Iran and the White House seeks an off-ramp, angst is growing among Americans, Republicans, key leaders, who all seem to be losing patience with President Trump and his administration over the ongoing conflict. New polling shows a majority of voters broadly oppose U.S. military action in Iran. A separate survey finds 59% of Americans think it's gone too far, and another 59% think the U.S. made the wrong decision to begin with. The White House, though, refusing to back down.
So 60% of Americans saying that Trump made the wrong decision. Those are some devastating numbers, especially when you factor in the midterms,
Remember when Republicans started claiming they were the party that is against war? This happened when the Republican Party went MAGA and started sort of welcoming all of this populist rhetoric that came with Donald Trump. And Donald Trump would say, I'll keep us out of wars, and Hillary is going to start 3 wars, and Joe Biden will get us into all these wars. And we are against war. And we all knew it wasn't true. We all knew that much like with many of the stated values and principles of this Republican Party, they'll say it if it's convenient. And as soon as it's not convenient, they abandon it. And that's what they are now doing, demanding a bloodthirsty razing of all of Gaza. Now, listen, Hamas committed a terrorist attack. Israel is going to respond. We don't need bloodthirsty Republicans demanding all the different things that they're demanding. Israel's going to defend itself. We know that. It was a terrorist attack. But it's fascinating how quickly these Republicans who say our instinct is always against, they now claim it's against war, it's against interventions, it's against supporting more military action, stop funding Ukraine, but all of a sudden their bloodthirst can't be missed.
Hello guys, welcome back. I hope you have just watched that full video from different people having the different opinion towards this Iran war. This Iran war is really making Donald Trump is now panicking. Donald Trump is not really sleeping. This man is so desperate. We have seen how he's just moving here and here looking for the help from different people. We have seen him going and looking for the Condoleezza. We have seen him maybe begging for the other nation so that they can really come up and really help him. So this is the consequences of the leader that is making decision without really involving so many people. So we remembered very well, and I know you really remembered very well how Donald Trump, he really came out and stopped recruiting the black soldiers, and also he refused really to promote the black engineers. And in such times of war, we need the bright mind. This is not using for the force, this is to using the mind. And that's why we have just seen how Donald Trump is really going to look a best mind like the Condoleezza. So we needed the black engineering soldiers. So these minds might be now being used for the Donald Trump to solve this issue, but he stopped recruiting the black engineers. It sparks a lot of the outrage all over the internet, how really people really came out and react to what this was, and this is his fault. Nobody, he cannot really come out and really blame anybody, because now in this time now he's now desperate looking these black soldiers. And we have just witnessed how the reaction from the Americans, the Maka people also, they say that they don't want their children, their kids, their sons to go and fight for the Iran. And also we have just seen so many things happening. We have seen also how the military refusing to be deployed, refusing just to be deployed by anybody. So they wanted just to have to, because this deployment, this military, they are really not wrong. They are much right, because this war is not for them. This war is for another country. So this war is not for that. And that's how this Donald Trump is really panicking. We have seen this Donald Trump really, he sent a lot of billions, a lot of trillions to the Israel to fight Iran. And the United States now has the debt. As you have just seen that from the Louis Fargan, it has a debt of trillions of money. And also we have seen how the American Treasury being declared insolvent, and then you are sending billions out of the America so that you can really fund another nation to fight war. That is not right. That is the consequences of now not listening from the people. And that is also the results from the Maka people who really voted in this man. Black America, they were always right. And one thing I normally talk about Black America, these people, they are the God chosen, because they have really fighting for the years for this America. They really fought a lot of years for this America. And that's why we normally come up with that reparation. That's where now reparation come on, because they really fight for the America to be the way it is. But is one man is really ruining this America. And one thing I have been realized with the black Americans, or the black folks, when they speak something, this something must happen. And that's why they predicted that this Donald Trump will not really make American great. They will make American go away. And that's why now America is nowhere. America is falling. People are crying out. And one thing also, it's really affects Cuba. Donald Trump is not really thinking smart, because when you touch Iran, you touch the global. When the oil goes up, automatically gas rise up, fuel rise up, other commodities starting rising. And that's why now, that is the result now we are experiencing globally. Because now America, a lot of commodity are being sold on high prices. People, and in this economy, America cannot really afford to purchase those things. And also we have just seen how the fuel, how people really people really crying out, the cost of fuel going up. That is how Donald Trump is really making America go away or falling away. And also, we have seen this Donald Trump is and I don't know who is really the advisor of Donald Trump, because this man is very, very much desperate. He gave Iran 48 hours ultimatum. Iran responded by giving Trump 24 hours. So this is the conflicts is really affecting the globally. When you just come in terms of globally, it's really affecting badly, because a lot of commodity are now up. A lot of when you just touch the petroleum or whatever you touch, and remember that when you touch Middle East, you touch the global, and that's why now a lot of countries now suffering because of this war. Donald Trump is not going smart, and their supporters, Marca, they are really the one who started crying this very, very early. So guys, I want to hear from you in your comment section. Do you really support Donald Trump to recall back the black soldier, or can black soldiers really assume that call from the Donald Trump? So I want to hear your thoughts in comment section. I'm your host, Team TC Reaction. Thank you so much for my returning viewers always coming back and watching my video. And also, if you haven't subscribed, please remember to subscribe, like, and also comment, and kindly remember to give this video a thumbs up, and all full credit goes to the creators of this video. Bye for now. See you in the next one.